All right, so welcome to Ask Steve, first video in this series that we're kicking off. Probably do this about once a month. So burning questions that people have about real estate that people ask us as we're out and about. People either email us or they leave us on the Instagram, whatevs. We'll cover it all. We're going to talk about it all, whether it's buying, selling, investment properties, short-term rentals. You want to talk about grilling on a Blackstone or smoking with a smoker in the backyard? We do all of that. We talk about it all. So we got three real estate questions that we're going to hit today. Try not to get too bogged down in the weeds, but let's go. Let's keep it quick. Let's rock and roll. Three questions we get asked a lot in real estate. Here we go. All right. So number one today, why do realtors always say this? Got that on my Instagram. I think it was last week. I was posting something along the lines of why I think it's still a good time to buy a house. Okay. And I will debate that with anybody. It's a good time to buy a house right now. Okay. We're in October of 2022. So if we're watching this a couple years from now, where are we right now? Interest rates are crazy. They're in the low sevens. They're much higher than they were at the beginning of the year, where they were basically low to mid threes. They've gone up a lot. Okay. That being said, a lot of the buyers have pulled out of the market. Things have slowed down. I look at that as an opportunity to buy. Call me crazy. I see people running out of a burning building. I say, why don't we run into the burning building? Why is everybody running out of the burning building? Why is everybody freaked out? For years, buyers have been sitting on the sidelines, or they've been going in with 100 other people on every property. Or they're sitting on the sidelines because they didn't want to be in with 100 other people on every property. Nobody was happy about it. They were just doing it. And they were saying, we need something to happen to change the market. Something has happened to change the market. It's the rates, and they stink. Now, some people think that the market's going to crash. Some people think that there's going to be a recession next year. Some people think all kinds of things. What do I think is going to happen next year? It's a good question. I have no idea what's going to happen next year. I always have an opinion what's going to happen in the future. Right now, looking at the future, I have no idea. And I think anybody who I've talked to, whether it's real estate or whether it's lending or whatever, what's going to happen next year? We got to look at what's going on right now. What's going on right now is a lot of the buyers are pulling out of the market. Okay, a lot of buyers are saying, "Look, I'll buy." The ones that are left are saying, "I'm going to buy, even though the rates stink. I'm going to buy because there's less competition." It's a great place to be in. You buy now, and when the rates go back down, you can refinance your house. You get the house now before the prices go up, and then the rates go down, and then you buy. And so the question everybody always comes back with is, well, I mean, who's going to guarantee that the home prices are going to go up? The home prices are going to go up in 5 years. 5 years from right now. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Can I guarantee you that 5 years from now, your house is going to be worth more than it is right now? I'm going to take that bet. There's really only one time in the last 100 years where that was a bad bet to take. And it may have even not been that bad of a bad bet to take. Not sure how long it took for everything to come back to where it was, but it was obviously the big dip in 08, 09. It just happened. It's still fresh in everybody's mind. So it's really the worst that's happened in the last 100 years. Okay. We've had plenty of recessions. We've had plenty of slowdowns. There's only one time, and it was a housing crash that caused the big calamity. Okay, it was a housing crisis that caused all the issues. It's not stacked that way right now. Okay, people have a lot of equity in their homes. People who own these homes have a lot. The credit is a lot more stringent now to get homes than it was back then. People are less likely to default on their loans, things like that. As of right now, there's really no structural thing that's showing me that we're going to have a wholesale crash of the market. Now, what I am willing to give now that I really did not think that was going to be here was that for the next 5 months-ish, 4 to 5 months, what's going to happen with the prices? They may wobble up a little bit. They may stay flat. They may wobble a hair down. They may stay, for all that we can say, it's going to stay pretty close to where it is right now. Okay, just because there's not a lot of motion, not a lot of buyers. Buyers are pissed off. Buyers are leaving. The ones that are left are picky. Okay, so they're not buying unless it's perfect. The sellers, the sellers still think that they've got a commodity because there's not a whole lot of homes. So if they're not getting the number that they want, they're pulling their houses. So we're still at a stalemate between the buyers and the sellers. I firmly believe that even though the number of homes that are on the market suggests that we're in a seller's market, the buyers are driving the train. It's a buyer's market. Okay, it looks like a seller's market. It's a buyer's market. You ask any real estate agent in a metro Atlanta area right now who's calling the shots. The buyers are calling the shots. It's a buyer's market. Okay, that's how I feel. So I say that to say, why do I say, and why do all realtors always say it's a good time to buy a house? It's a buyer's market right now. You can get a house now without having to go $100,000 over asking price. You can get an inspection. You can get an appraisal. You don't have to compete with 100 other people. Yes, the interest rate's going to stink, but you can refi when the rates go down. Okay, I say all of those things. Okay, and it only doesn't make sense if the home prices go down in the next several years. I don't think it's going to happen. It very, 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 very rarely happens. Okay, that's why realtors always say that. There's always going to be people that are driven by fear. They're not going to make a move because they're nervous. They're not going to make a move because the sky is falling. They're not going to make a move because they're worried about the recession. They're not going to. The mainstream media, I promise you, I used to work in TV. I'm going to shoot you straight. They're going to scare the hell out of you tonight, and they are working on what the hell they're going to do to scare the hell out of you tomorrow. And they're going to get you again next week. They're here to scare the hell out of you because if you are hunky-dory moving around, you're not watching the news. Okay? And I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. If you're watching Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or local news or reading a newspaper or on a book, it's all about fear. And if you're scared of something or pissed off about something and whatever, you're gonna watch, you're gonna read it. Okay? Don't let that drive what you think. Look at everything. Look at the numbers. Look at the fact that the home prices go up. Okay? Almost all the time. And when you get a wiggle, where they may go down a little bit, they still go up within the next couple of years. Okay? If you're looking at real estate as a 3 to 5 year investment, always bet on the fact that it's going to go up. Okay? And to me, that's why as a realtor, as a salesperson in real estate, that's why I always say, I'm not going to come up and say, oh, I don't think that. You got the wrong guy. You probably find that guy somewhere. That ain't me. Okay? And I said it in a video I did earlier this year, a couple months ago. I put my money where my mouth is. We bought our first Airbnb during this craziness. Everybody's running out of the building. I said, I'll go right in that building. There's plenty of space in the building right now. So that's why realtors always say that. Realtors always say that because the stats show this is a good time. Okay? That's what they show. So, and I won't back down from that, and realtors shouldn't back down from that. If you want to talk more about that, let me know. That's why realtors always say it, though, because statistically, real estate always is a good bet. Okay, if you look at individual stocks, some individual stocks go up, some go down, some crash, some whatever. Like on the S&P 500, like 20 years ago, you look and see where the top companies, how many of those are still in the top companies now? Probably half of them. Okay, half drop, half go up. You don't know. Real estate as a whole always goes up, except for that one time when everything was stacked the wrong way. And we all should have saw it coming, and it happened. Okay, it's not stacked that way now. It may slow down. It may go very quiet the next couple years, but you're looking at this as a long-term play. Grab the house now. And I'll never back down from saying that. Unless the market goes wonky. There you go. That's number one. All right, so number two kind of goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about. Is the market getting ready to pop? Are you getting ready to see the prices go down? I don't think so. What we're seeing a lot of is people saying the deceleration of prices is the biggest deceleration in the history of real estate. Like how much it is year over year, it's the biggest drop in history. You know why that is? The last 2 years, it's gone up 20% each of the last 2 years. It's not going up 20% anymore. It's going up like 10% now. So it's 10% slower this year than it was last year. So that's the record. Well, of course it's the record. It was 20%. When was the last time it was 20%? Like never. Like 20% 2 years in a row, and then it goes back down? It's going to happen. It has to happen. This market is like crazy. Okay, so we're getting back to normal real estate. Normal real estate goes up 4 to 5% every year, the value of a home. That's what it's done over history. Yes, there's been some crazy ups. Yes, there's been some crazy downs, but you can draw that line 4 to 5%, and the prices have gone up right around that 4 to 5% range. Okay, that's where we're supposed to be. Okay, I say all that to say, do I see a wholesale crashing of the market? No, there's not enough homes on the market. It's still supply and demand. There's not a lot of demand right now because, as we talked about, a lot of buyers are pulling out. That's why I think it's a great time to jump in and grab a house because there's not a whole lot of demand. You can get a screaming deal right now. But there's also not a whole lot of supply. There's still only like 2 months of inventory. To have a balanced market, you have to have about like 5 or 6 months of inventory. Where we were back in 08, 09, we were like 10, 11, 12 months of inventory. We had a crap ton of inventory. Okay. There was a lot of homes. Like if you were looking to buy a home, you didn't know what to buy because there's so much. Okay. We don't have that right now. We still have a fifth ish, like a fifth, 20% of what we had when it was crazy, when the market was going crazy. Okay. Prices are not going to go down. Now, what we're seeing a lot of, you're seeing a lot of people dropping their prices on their house. Oh, the home prices are dropping. Home prices are dropping. You know why the home prices are dropping? Because people are selling them for too much. People are looking at the market and saying, well, my neighbor down the street, they sold their house for over like 100,000 over asking price. Now I'm going to try and set myself up to make a crazy number and da 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 da. Market's changed big time. Okay, if your house isn't priced right, it doesn't look the part, it will not sell. Period. Okay, so a lot of people are having to drop their prices. I think nationwide it's like 10 to 15% of all homes are dropping their prices right now. So it looks like a house that was listed at 650 is now going to sell for 625. So prices are dropping. Prices aren't dropping. The values are pretty steady right now. They're not going up the way that they were. Thank goodness, because that was crazy and it was unsustainable. But the prices themselves are coming down to meet where they should be. Okay. Now, I thought the prices would slow, but would continue up, and then we'd kind of pick up at a more normal pace next year. I'm willing to concede that we might have like a slight wobble in certain areas in North Georgia on prices. We're going to have a 10 to 20% drop in prices? No. Could you have like a 1 or 2% drop and then everything picks back up in the spring? That could be. But basically, what it's going to do is going to meander where it is right now. It's going to wobble a little bit, but it's going to be meander until buyers really start coming back in, sellers get a little bit more engaged, and we start doing real estate the way that we normally do. Right now, it's very quiet, very different market right now. Okay. But are we stacked to the point where it's going to support a crash of the market? I don't see it. Okay. You had so many homes on the market. A lot of those homes were underwater. Then the foreclosure, with all the houses and the start of the short sale wave and all those things happened. It was a different market the way that everything was stacked. So many people have so much equity in their house. Even if right now, let's say somebody down the street from you sold their house for $500,000 and you want to get 500 and you can't. It's the same house and you just can't get 500 right now. If you sold it for 450, would you sell? Probably. And that stinks that you're making 50 less than they did down the street. But what did you buy it for 3 years ago? Probably bought it for like 300, maybe 250 3 years ago. You just made how much in equity? Yeah, I know it stinks because you want to make the 500. But look at it long term. 2 years ago you bought it for 300, and then a couple years later you're going to sell it for 450. That's not a bad deal. All right. So there's a lot of people who are going to be in that position where, you know what, let's sell it and get out if they get to that point. Are we going to have a recession? I don't know. Are we going to finally get to the top of inflation mountain? I don't know. I thought we were there like a month and a half ago. We're not there yet, and I don't know when we're going to get there. Part of it is now we're going to ride it out, and we're just going to try and meet our people where they are, try and get them, with our lenders to talk about the different programs that they have to help them out to find these houses. But do I think there's going to be a wholesale crash in the market? I didn't think it was going to happen at the beginning of the year. And even though things have slowed down a lot, I still don't think there's going to be a wholesale crash of the market as it stands right now. All right, finally, number 3, how do I get started with a short-term rental? It's a good question. As you know, we bought our first short-term rental earlier this summer. As you know, if you followed us, you may not know that. Now you know it. We bought a short-term rental back in July. Um, so I was talking to a friend who was asking about how to get started, things like that. Obviously you have to figure out the money thing, and that's a longer conversation for a longer time. Basically, we did a home equity loan against our house. I've got a coach that basically says your home equity loan is sitting there, your equity is sitting there, use it. Otherwise, it's just sitting there. Okay, and if you believe, like I do, that the home prices are going to keep going up, use the equity to leverage to get other properties. I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. That's not a Dave Ramsey position. So Dave, don't at me. I love you, my Tennessee brother, but don't. I love you, but don't yell at me. But that's how we saw it. Again, I'm in real estate. I kind of see the game. I know what's going on. I took the swing, and I know it. There's a little bit of risk there. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to say, though, talking about how to get started, is what are you looking for in your first property? You're looking for, I'll be honest with you, you're looking for a home run. Okay. We are probably spending more money per month than we thought we were going to, and not making as much money per month as we expected. The Airbnb market is saturated. It's not as busy as it was during the pandemic. It's now starting to slow down, and we're going into a recession. So a lot of times, if you want to get people in there, what do? You got to bring your prices down, is what it is. If you want to be full. I'm not saying that we're necessarily losing money or hemorrhaging money or anything like that. First couple of months we were pretty solid. We were pretty like right at where we were supposed to be. October, we expected October to be a slamming month, with it being, kind of the start of the fall season in North Georgia. And actually, October ends up being probably the worst month that we've had from a bottom line standpoint. November's shaping up to be a much better month, thankfully. But I say that to say, I was very conservative in what we expected money-wise. We ended up, even with the conservative expectations, ended up spending even more money than I thought, and we ended up making a little bit less money than we thought, especially last month. So, why do I say that? And I've said this in a video before talking about it. You've got to look at the margins. If the margins are thin, don't do it, because those margins are best case scenario. When you're looking at it and they're very thin, you're never going to be in a best case scenario. You want big, wide margins. Okay, you want, if this is what we're going to spend and this is what we're going to make, you want there to be a big difference between the two, because that will not happen every single month. Okay, things are going to happen. We had an accident in our house, and a tree fell and pulled the wires out of the side of our house. We had to get the fascia board replaced, things like that. Things happen inside the house. We get a lot of renters. We have to have a lot of cleaners. All these things are going to happen. Okay, you're renting a property. Our hot tub had an issue. We had to have the fix-it guy go out and fix the hot tub. All this stuff happens. It is what it is. I mean, we own property. We own 2 properties now. Okay, but I say all that to say, you've got to expect that you're going to spend a little bit more money than you thought, and you're not going to make quite as much money as you expected. So for that reason, you want to look for a home run, because the margins are going to be a lot smaller than you think, number one. Number two, to me, you want to look for a house that's very good, nice, solid house, but also in a place that can rent. And I will point you in the direction of, in the comments, I'm going to put the link to my playlist that has all our Airbnb stuff that we do, where I talk about exactly what we look for in the first house. But what you want to look for is a house that looks the part. It's great. It's in a great location. You want to look on airdna.co to see how that house rents, or how that area rents. It could be a really nice house. If it's an area that nobody rents in, I can't promise you're going to get renters. Okay? You want to get a really nice house in an area that people want to go to and will rent from. And then you got to be sure that the rent works. If I add all this rent up, do I make it? Okay, you've got to do your due diligence on the front end. That's how I get started. My wife and I looked at properties for probably a month and a half to 2 months before we found the one. We got pre-approved, we got everything, we're ready to go. And we just sat and we waited and we waited and we waited. And physically, we only looked at 2 places. And the one was not the one, and the second one was. But you have to be prepared for that. Don't jump fast. Take your time. Don't overpay on the front. That's the one thing. That is the one advantage that we had. We got a very good deal on the house, which in this market was great. If I had waited a little bit, probably could have got it for a lot cheaper, but that's life. But we got it in July, so the market had already turned. We jumped on and got a really good deal. Um, that's what you want in your first Airbnb. You want to get a really good deal. Take a look at all the videos that we did. If you want to get a kick on, or a kickoff, kind of what you want to do. If you want to look at a short-term rental and think about, hey, maybe that's something that work for us, check out all those videos and always hit me up and let me know what you think. You can hit me on Instagram, Facebook, email me, send a carrier pigeon, however you want to do it. Let me know because I love talking about that stuff. But that's how I would get started. Get your money in order. Really look for a home run for your first one because the margins are going to be a lot thinner than you expect them to be. All right, so there you go. 3 questions, 3 answers. Tried to keep them a little shorter and sweeter. I couldn't quite do them that long, obviously, on like an Instagram reel where I only have 60 seconds, but I didn't want them to be like a long 20-minute answer for each one of those. So I kind of tried to hit it as quick as I could, and give you some insight, and we move on. So that's Ask Steve. That's episode 1. Episode 2 coming in about a month. So if you have any questions that you want to add to the deal, let me know. Okay. You can email me, Steve at MaloneRealtyGroup.com. Call me 470-233-4409. You can hit me on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. I'm there too. So send us questions there. And good talking to you. Y'all take care. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching the video today. If you want more information on what's going on in the real estate market, take a look at some of these videos over here that we've posted, keeping up with what buying, selling, things that are going on in the North Georgia market. But if you want to keep up with everything that we post to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel down there, bottom right. That way you won't miss out on anything.